Hello, friends. It's another episode of the 3rd and 20 Dynasty Podcast. I'm JT, joined by Lounis, Frank, Jake. I switched up the order there in case you guys noticed. I had to show Lounis some love.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I appreciate it.
Why are you showing Lounis love?
He was the top scorer in our home league.
I've had a
by
pretty
lot
good
of points.
fantasy week. I overtook the fantasy stock market. I shattered the record of highest scoring week in our league history.
Yeah, Lounis is killing
Specifically
it.
Jake's record.
I would also like to wish Merry Christmas to any of the people who were smart and drafted the rookie receivers in their rookie drafts this season.
Yes.
Because it was just Christmas, right? You could sit around the tree in your draft and just pick a receiver. And if you picked any of them, you got a nice present this year.
I'm calling a timeout. Is that why you wore that shirt?
Not actually. I happen to be wearing it. But I came up with that before the episode.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Oh, and a Merry Patriots Day to all the
screw
Patriots.
you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. Rookie wide receiver. We'll talk about them later in another segment. But I mean, I think we got to kick it off with my sweet prince, Trey Lance, just shattering his ankle. Out for the year, dislocated it as well. I'm very upset, guys. Someone console me for a second while I gather my thoughts here.
I don't have any thing to console you. I can just say I was pretty sad too. I wanted to see him actually have a chance in that offense and like feel comfortable because I think it could have been really exciting. But now everyone's like, oh, like Jimmy G, they were scoring points. And I don't know. I feel terrible. I'm more interested to see what happens now next year with him. I guess this is kind of a step away from fantasy, but it does relate to him in terms of just like where he's going to be playing with fantasy. Like if the 49ers have a really good season, maybe like get to the Super Bowl or something, do they? I don't know. Maybe shop Lance? And just stick with Jimmy
I think
G?
it's a little hasty to say any of that right now. I think
I know, but I'm just saying like if say it's far ahead, but like I don't know, because I'm immediately thinking like if he's out for the year, I'm thinking okay, Trey Lance next season. What are we thinking? But I'm saying like say they do great, and I think they should stick with Trey Lance personally. I think he's significantly more talented than Garoppolo, and he's going to be the better quarterback once he's like fully comfortable in the NFL. I'm just interested to see what they're going to do though. It's like a weird situation.
I think that the consensus is that they stick with Lance, but regardless, I'm more interested. What's the value of him right now? What do you?
It's a hold.
It has to be a hold.
Now here's the thing, right?
You can't sell.
I've consoled myself. I put out some tweets at Dynasty JT on Twitter. I put out some tweets saying that when it happened, my panic meter was at a 9 because I was like, at the time, I didn't know how bad the injury actually was. I mean, the Twitter doctors were saying it was an ankle injury and everything, but I was like, this could be Alex Smith. Like this could be Alex Smith. Like his career might be over. Yeah. Turns out. Just actually was his ankle. No,
it's not. He said he was scared of it being that serious.
That's why I've muted all the Twitter doctors. You just convinced me.
No, he was saying the Twitter doctors didn't say that. It just,
the Twitter
that's all.
It was me that was saying it.
That was
I literally, if I see a post, I mute it. I don't care if it's right or wrong.
The Twitter doctors actually got it right with Trey Lance early on with calling it an ankle.
So that's one thing, but then I was like, oh, like is his rushing ability ever going to come back? Like he's been predicated on his rushing ability. He's only had one real year of actual college success, and then he took a seat essentially his entire rookie year. I had all these thoughts spinning in my head, and I was like, I need to get out for him for like any 2023 first. But then after some reflection and everything, I thought about it, and there's a lot of reasons to still stick with Trey Lance, and at least if you even like don't like Trey Lance and you're out on him now, at least hold him through the season. Just stash him on IR or whatnot, because you're not going to get your value back anyway. But here's the case for Trey Lance still, right? One, there's just no, even if Jimmy G wins the Super Bowl there, I just don't see Jimmy G coming back. He's very expensive. This is a team that already has.
You think if they won the Super Bowl, they wouldn't bring him back?
I don't think they can. This is a team that's got a lot of money tied up in cap already. They've invested so much into Trey Lance already, and he's just like significantly cheaper than what a Super Bowl winning Jimmy G, quarterback would fetch on the market. Unless he's taking a giant hometown discount to stay with the 49ers. I think Jimmy G is
I don't think...
I mean, I think it also depends if he balls the fuck out, then they might...
I mean, that's the thing.
Jimmy G sucks.
I was going to say, I don't think Jimmy G is going to be back because I don't think the 49ers are going to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Jimmy G's crap.
But I'm saying if they somehow did, like, that's like... That would be where, like, your panic meters and I mean, it depends where he lands if they did Trey Lance. But no, I do think Jimmy G will be gone. I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're not, yeah.
But all right, hold on. You were saying a 23 first. Are you still interested in doing that?
If it was top 6, sure. But I don't think you're getting it. This is why I put on Twitter, and I've stood by it, whatever. The thing is, I think at the time, if it was fairly certain that the first was going to be a top 2023 first, I think you would have had a hard time trading Trey Lance for that in the first place, just because of how hyped people were on Butte, Bijan Robinson. Why are you giving me that look? Like,
I don't know about that.
Because you yourself wouldn't take a 23 first straight up for Trey Lance.
I personally wouldn't have. If Parker offered me, if we're doing the home league, if Parker offered me that first for Trey Lance, I would have had a hard time.
Guaranteed top 3. Let's just assume guaranteed top 3.
Yeah, I would have a hard time.
You're taking that for Lance?
Couple weeks ago, I'm one of the highest on Trey Lance. I would have strongly debated it. I probably would have stuck with Lance, but I'm like super high on Lance, I would say, or I was.
I think the fact of the matter is, you look at
it's close.
Bryce Young coming in would be what, a fringe top 10 dynasty quarterback? Isn't that where Lance was though?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though. I just think Trey Lance offers you so much more upside than Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Like, these two guys aren't exactly running quarterbacks. They are very good prospects, although no one's still really been great at identifying who is good and who is bad in terms of quarterbacks, other than just looking at the draft capital. So there's that. Once you get beyond those two guys, this quarterback class is a mess. Like, I don't think there's really anyone else that's going to be any good. Will Levis is supposed to be the next guy. He's like 23 years old. Like, he's not that great. Then there's Anthony Richardson.
Age is iffy thing.
Yeah, but it's taken him a while to even show production on the field. So I have a hard time
I agree with what you're saying though. Like, the 23 class outside of those guys, who fucking knows?
So the issue with it, where this lies now too, is you just have those top 5 or 6 guys of Mahomes, Kyler, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. I'm going to keep Joe Burrow in there, and then Lamar. Those 6 guys. I'm going to keep him right there.
You forgot a guy. Shut up.
Shut up.
Dak, is it Russ? I don't know.
No, shut up. I know. You know who it is.
Tua, baby. Let's go. By the way, he is up to QB12. He's officially QB1 Tua.
Well, let me ask you guys this, because this is what I'm considering right now as a realistic example in leagues.
Okay.
You have the average team that happens to be 2-0. Maybe their team is doing a little bit better than expected. A guy like Curtis Samuel popping up and potentially helping towards a win. Or the good team that's 0-2. Right? These two teams firsts, which who knows where they could land because of extenuating circumstances. Their prices have now changed slightly. Are you either, if you're one of these teams, actively trying to trade for Trey Lance with the pick, or is that something you consider trading Trey Lance away for?
I think it's dumb trading for Trey Lance with a pick. I think you're better off moving off a quarterback that you don't like. For example, I tried trading to give you a price check on Trey Lance. So I know we're talking off the pod about this, but I offered in the second, third, and 20 league, I offered Justin Fields for Trey Lance straight. Because my team's a tanking team. Like, I kind of want Lance. I haven't really liked what I've seen with Fields. We'll talk about him later. Straight decline, no counter, anything. So Trey Lance is still holding high value. Yeah. But what I think is, if you could pivot off those quarterbacks that are questionable. Now, the problem is a few of them just had stinkers in Kirk Cousins and Ryan Tannehill. But like, giving a good plus on top of those guys for Trey Lance, I would have done that. Tua is about where I draw the line. Trevor Lawrence is, again, one good week against the Colts. It's tough for me to say, oh, Trevor Lawrence is finally put together. I don't know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence.
T-Law, baby.
She looked good.
It's tough.
I just think he's had a good off season into the season. Like I think it's all been good. That's part of it, right?
Yeah, he has a serious coach.
I get mocked for saying Tua's good, and we're talking about Trevor Lawrence, who put up 18 fantasy points. 18. Yeah, what are we talking about here?
Thank you, Jake. It's just the name brand though of Trevor Lawrence. Like he just doesn't get criticized as much as any of these other guys.
I think he looks great through 2 weeks.
He had like the worst rookie season of the group.
He looks
okay. Yeah.
Why can't they both be looking good? I think they both look good.
I don't think he's looked substantially great. Like I think he's looked
significantly better than last year.
He's still got some issues, but for where you're at, I think.
But he's pretty highly. He's still pretty highly priced for what I think he's just going to be. Is that like low end quarterback 1, high end quarterback 2 kind of guy?
Well, do we want to get into? Do we want to switch up the segment here from Trey Lance officially?
Hold on 1 second. I do see chat saying Jimmy G was a possession away from winning a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I would like to correct that to say. I would like to correct that to say. Hold on. I'm correcting that to say. The 49ers were 1 possession away of winning the Super Bowl in spite of Jimmy G. It wasn't because of Jimmy G.
Stop.
Jimmy G was not good.
He wasn't. That's why they lost.
That postseason, he wasn't bad. This last postseason, he was
were
bad.
Possession away from winning a Super Bowl in spite of Jimmy G, not because of Jimmy.
What's going on, Peter the R? By the way,
hey chat. All right, yeah. Now we can move on to.
Let's get into Tua.
Panic meet. Oh no, Beta great. Both of them, all of them. Do we think Tua is bait or great?
Well, it depends on how you view him. I think the big thing Tua did is kind of eliminate a lot of people. I mean, I know the Dolphins traded their first in the Tyreek Hill trade, but there's always been speculation about like, is Tua gonna have like how many more years as a starter? I think this is, from what it seems, I don't want to overreact 2 weeks, that like this will cement him as like he's gonna be the starter in Miami for multiple years. It seems so. I think the biggest thing, I mean, it still remains like it's always been a health thing for Tua, and staying healthy through 17 games. I mean, obviously you see how much Tyreek Hill and Waddle are helping him, which, by the way, fucking Jalen Waddle was absurd. And I mean, same with Tyreek, but we knew that. But I feel like it's more so I feel safer if I have him. I don't know if I'm putting him though, like kind of close to that, like class with like what you were mentioning earlier with like the sorry,
Lounis, when are you gonna drop the health thing? It's been 2 fucking years. How are you still worried about?
He was hurt last year.
He was hurt last season.
Was he? Oh yeah, he was hurt for a little bit. Yeah, you're right.
He's been hurt every year of his career.
I just feel like that's so weird worrying about a guy's injury when he's playing healthy right now.
Through 2 weeks, yeah, but I mean, I'm not like shitting on him. I'm praising Tua. I'm just saying that's a valid concern. If a small quarterback has gotten injured and missed time every single year of his career, is that not? But no, he impressed me. I'm saying like I'm higher on him now than I was entering the season. And I think with those weapons and what Mike McDaniel's done with the offense, he can be productive in fantasy and kind of be like a high-end QB2 this season. I can't. So when I say beta great, I'm asking like, are people putting him in that elite tier, like right? I'd say maybe right next to Burrow now in like QB 6 or 7. If it's that, then I can't go that far.
No, I don't think that's happened.
No, but I think he definitely belongs in the next tier with the likes of.
Is he top 10? Is he free like at that bottom half of the top 10?
Yes.
Let me go through the quarterbacks.
No one's saying he's top 5. No one's saying he's anywhere near Josh Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Lamar, Kyler. Burrow hasn't looked good, but I'd still take Burrow. Jalen Hurts has looked great. I'll give him Jalen Hurts. Then you got Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Tua, and then Russ.
What place was Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott was 10, right above Tua at 11.
He might be 11 for me then, because I think I would have. He might actually be 10. Because I think him and Trey Lance for me are in that 10-11 spot, then Dak, then Russ, 12 and 13. So yeah, it might actually be a top 12 quarterback for me. It look good. Like that offense is gonna help him a lot. Aren't Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill the 2 leaders in the NFL in receiving yards right now?
Yeah.
Like he's in a really good offense for a skill set with two insanely elite
they might be
receivers.
1 and 3.
Because that's I mean, like the thing. I mean, not to like discredit him, but like he doesn't need to be elite to put up numbers. Did you see some of the completions he was hitting in the game?
Yeah,
like he has elite receivers and a good scheme.
I don't know how.
But he also hit a.
What do you say?
It's not
JT?
sustainable. He came back versus a very good Ravens defense from 4 touchdowns down.
I haven't looked at the game stats yet, but I'm going to assume his expected fantasy points was significantly lower than the actual fantasy points that he put up.
No, but I'm saying I think like you can. It's not like those two receivers and the head coach are going anywhere.
No, but it's that kind of high scoring game. You're not going to see that.
Oh no, obviously not. If it's something like that, then you're talking like a higher discussion.
40.
Yeah, but I'm saying the price last week or 2 weeks ago compared to the price now for Tua, I think has just given you this great opportunity to move him into that elite asset tier. Like you can move off Tua now into that elite asset tier for less than what it took. Because I'm looking right now, right? So what he was last year, 2 weeks ago, sorry, not even last year, just 2 weeks ago, you would have had to put on top of Tua, you would have had to give Joe Burrow to get to Lamar Jackson, according to Keep Trade Cut, which I mean would have been crazy anyway.
That's a crazy, yeah.
But
well, what's Tua's price right now? Can I?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
For him?
No, you can't trade a single first for Tua.
But here's the thing though, you can move from Tua plus like a Javonte Williams, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs now to Lamar Jackson, which I'm not necessarily against.
I don't even. What? You're not against trading a Tua and a top 5 receiver?
Lamar Jackson is like on an MVP like season right now. He's going to put up 30 points a week. Like he's
that was the trade. All right.
Wait, say the trade again.
like a Cooper Kupp, Javonte Williams, Jalen Waddle, that kind of player, plus a Tua for Lamar.
And you're getting Lamar, or you're trading?
You're getting Lamar.
I really don't like that.
I think you guys, you're getting a game-breaking. Now, you can argue Cooper Kupp is game-breaking, but he is significantly older. I just think you're getting a crazy player in Lamar for Tua, which you could not have done 2 weeks ago.
I know Lamar's great. I know he's going to be either number 1 or 2. I mean, we can kind of tell now Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are going to be the 2 highest fantasy scorers this season, assuming both stay healthy. That trade's tough, though. I think it would have to depend on my team, because if I'm contending like right now, I kind of would want. I think Tua can put up okay numbers. Where would you have him in terms of those like dynasty QB rankings? Where like Jake was just listing, so you have kind of like probably Prescott 12, at like 10. Okay, so like 12, 13.
Yeah, he's like a little bit lower than Prescott.
Are you buying on the hype? Are you going out there and are you saying I will pay top 10 quarterback whatevers for Tua? Because I don't know what side of the fence. I thought he looked fantastic. I think you guys are underselling how well he played.
He looked so good. He made every single throw you'd want him to see. Like he did.
But all right,
I don't know what else the guy can do.
I'm hearing. Oh well, what if he doesn't stay healthy all 17 games?
We're talking about a Ravens defense though that Carson Wentz also tore up last year. Like this isn't like a. It was a good performance. He didn't look great. It was a good performance.
Numbers look great, but that's what matters.
JT, he had almost 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. The guy put on a show.
I'm not throwing away.
What else do you want him to do? All this guy does is win. It was almost entirely against another championship.
Did you forget the first half? He didn't even
listen.
He threw 2 picks.
One of them was a tip ball. Let's relax.
Yeah.
He didn't look great in that first half.
No, he looked bad in the first half, and he looked like an MVP in the fourth half.
This feels like such a crazy overreaction. This is a crazy. I'm not throwing away 2 years.
I guess my stance is this. I'm not going out and buying Tua because I do actually have injury concerns. Except if I have Tua, I'm not viewing this as like, oh, this is my chance to sell high. Like I'm holding him because he's a young quarterback, but you're taking that risk. Like obviously, I mean. That would be a pretty good offer.
Well, what is the price? What are you holding him for? That's what I don't know.
2 first and a quarter. 2 first.
You're not getting 2 first. I'm not. Who's giving up 2 first?
I know. Everyone knows.
Is Tua in the Is Tua Joe Mixon? Is Joe Mixon
this year?
paradox of Tua?
What do you mean? Probably.
I think he's going to be the quarterback.
I'm just looking at. I have trades here. I have trades that Tua was traded for right now.
Yeah, let me hear him.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Why didn't we think of that?
Brandin Cooks and Travis Etienne for Tua.
Who? Huh? Sorry.
Brandin Cooks and Travis Etienne for Tua.
Is that on Superflex?
Yes, this is as of yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
This was a trade that happened. Tua and Najee for Joe Burrow. Kind of like if it was someone in that similar range, like
I like the Tua and Najee side.
Tua for Amon Ra.
Oh shit! Ooh. The Amon Ra, the hype, man.
Yeah. Brandon Ayuk, Jarvis Landry, and a first for Devin Duvernay and Tua.
Yikes!
It could be a good first.
So that's the biggest package so far for Tua.
Yeah, there's not much after. I mean, someone traded Tua and
people are gonna want to see more weeks.
Yeah, the problem is I don't really have much.
No one's trading for him right now.
Well, we have 4 trades. This is enough to work off of. So on average, you're not getting 2 firsts. You're getting about. No. I mean, I think Etienne and Cooks is realistically what it sounds like the price is. Whatever that equates to in draft picks or value, Etienne probably around a first. Like
it's probably a first and a second.
Get a 23, but I think you get a 24 from someone in your league guaranteed if you offered him out to all 12 teams. And then Cooks, I think Cooks is worth more than a single second. I mean, we're going to get into him, but I don't know. I think I'm buying Tua at that price. If I'm being completely honest with you.
On Keep Trade Cut, you can buy Tua for a 2023 mid first.
That's disgusting. Anyway,
are you paying that for Tua?
Yeah. Yes. Goodbye.
No.
Every time.
I think I might. Here's the thing. I just expected him to be worth more. That's what surprises me. I thought that everyone else is going to be like,
no, he's
top 10, baby. There he is. He's top 10.
Because it's been one game.
You. I thought that's what was going to be. And
no, I mean, listen. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I didn't want to.
I hear he was making easy throws, Frank, like he stinks.
You're making me. I wanted to come here and like credit.
Yeah, you guys are like.
But like you guys are like forcing man. The Ravens had 2 4th-round rookie corners and a rookie safety playing.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton's trash. Not only that, but like.
With 2 of the top,
was just,
what?
Dude was just the 14th pick.
Yeah,
dude was just the
14th. He was so over.
How Hamilton played. Hamilton played awful.
I'm not saying he didn't, but the dude was just the 14th pick.
And the 2 outside corners were 4th-round picks.
Now I'm already ready to call him a bust.
I'm sorry. I just struggle how you say, oh, they put up 600 yards, but it's like, yeah, well, everyone does that. Like
that. Listen.
Okay. I get that they added Tyreek Hill. I get that. And I get Mike McDaniel is now the coach. But I'm still not throwing away 2 years of just what are we doing to a production out of it. Like I'm not ready to say he's put it all together after 1 week. It's been 1 week. And we're acting like
that's like why I can't go that high.
And he played like a middling Patriots defense and didn't look good at all.
And also the reason I don't want to do any Tua trade this week.
Where we go?
Okay, here's another reason. I'm not buying Tua in any. I'm not buying Tua in any scenario this week.
That was game script because they were destroying your Pats.
Real quick. That's okay. Real quick, I'm not buying Tua this week in particular any week because that's Tua's next opponent is. We'll get to see how good Tua is.
Circle the wagons.
It's the Bills. It is the Bills.
It's the Bills. So if you want to buy Tua, why not just wait till after he has to play that defense?
Is the game?
I think it's in Miami. I think it's in Miami.
Miami's home.
Bills in Buffalo. He would get. I don't know. I would be scared.
It'd get ugly.
So you give up 2 firsts or a higher end first,
everyone's
like
playing
mid 2023
first.
Right now. For Tua, but you're saying he's just going to get torched by Buffalo. Like, I'm not giving up that.
There were a lot of quarterbacks.
I said scared. Look at last night. I mean, they made Tannehill look like a JV quarterback.
If Joe Burrow, what is it? If Joe Burrow went to Buffalo right now, he'd get fucking smoked.
Well, Joe Burrow's getting smoked by Cooper Rush.
Anyone not named Mahomes
or Herbert.
Or like maybe Lamar went to Buffalo, you'd be scared.
Oh,
and that's
even Lamar.
You guys forget about Mac Jones and his trip or his games against Buffalo.
You mean the one he threw 3 passes?
Yeah, that's what I was going. But I think that was actually in New England.
Who's after Tua?
I'm shocked with what I'm hearing tonight,
Listen,
fellas, to be honest.
I've said it once.
Bro beats the Ravens once, and Franks loves him.
This is the Tua we saw at Alabama. He's finally back from the major hip injury. He has his weapons. He's ready to roll. Let's go. 2-0. Let's ride.
I just think you look at like every year, what's the team that shows up and kind of reinvents things? And to me, that's what the Dolphins wanted to do, and it looks like it's fucking working. Like, that's what I'm seeing. I'm looking at a team, and I'm like, well, shit. They tried an experiment, and it fucking panned out. Good for them. Like, they're torching people. So
yeah, the two fastest.
I think he's looking good. I think that the offense really fits Tua. And he looks better, dude. He looks better. He looks more decisive.
Better. I told you I'm higher on him. That's why I feel. You're making me feel like I'm shitting. I came in here to praise him and tell you like I have him at like QB 11 or 12.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
I have him as a low end QB1.
I think Etienne's overrated, but yeah, I don't hate that. Right. But when we're talking about like 2 firsts for Tua, that's where I'm like, what are we doing here?
Well, yeah, but that as of right now, according to these recent trades, that's an overpay.
I have to say, it is an overpay.
Nah.
I understand people who have him not wanting to sell, but I'm not sending that offer.
All right, who we want to talk about next?
I was thinking we could intertwine. I know Jake doesn't want to do this, but do you want to try it out? Just like weave between the panic meter and the beta grade. So we can move into we can let JT steal this one because we know he's going to have some feelings on it. Panic meter Kyle Pitts this week. People on Twitter were saying
I had to listen to JT talk about Tua. Now I have to listen to him talk about Kyle Pitts. Jeez.
Take off your headphones.
Okay. I'm gonna give mine. Pitts is still Dynasty tight end 1. I have no idea what the Falcons coach is doing, but under no circumstances am I trading Kyle Pitts unless I'm getting a generational person back. And even then, it'd have to be pretty fucking good generational player. And I'm sending out offers for Pitts in every league. I know in our home league I can't because JT actually knows how to handle that. But I mean, every other league, I'm asking the owners like, what would it take for Kyle Pitts? Besides that, I'm not worried.
This is the great thing that's happened. It's opened a buying opportunity for Kyle Pitts.
Yeah,
where
that's the biggest thing.
You would never have gotten. You would have always had to overpay for like significant.
Or like it would have to be a trade involving like a Jonathan Taylor, or like
Jonathan Taylor, Lamar, like all the top tier. Now like you could probably
you get him for maybe like 2 firsts.
I will say if you trade Kyle Pitts now, you never deserve to have Kyle Pitts. But I'm sure you are going to have some managers that will bite at like a Dallas Goedert plus a first. I'm sure that the people are going to accept that. I personally would never do that, but I think you're going to get a lot of that happening. I just think like we're doing with Tua and this small sample size, we're putting way too much into these games where Kyle Pitts just had the rookie all-time record for tight ends in receiving yards. And he was still pretty undervalued, like deflated value, because for some reason, Arthur Smith decides it's a good idea to have him block in goal line opportunities, like, or at least he did last year. Now he's scheming up plays for, God bless him, Bryan Edwards to end the game. Like, it's clearly just a schematic change that's going to need to change for Kyle Pitts. And I'm just going to bank on that happening. And I think if anyone's truly panicked, like they just shouldn't have had Kyle Pitts in the first place, because Kyle Pitts is the one truth.
No one's panicked on Kyle Pitts, correct?
I don't think here. I agree with you. That is a thing, though.
I agree with you. I would be sending out Kelsey in a first. Whatever tight end you have in a first.
The only tight end I think like you're definitely fine still holding is Mark Andrews. I think if you have Mark Andrews, it's whatever you have to pay up to get to Kyle Pitts, you're probably just happier just holding Mark Andrews. I don't have any issue with that. Other than that, I'd spend up to get Kyle Pitts.
All right, let's just move on then, because I think we all share the same sentiment on Kyle Pitts. We go to JT's former guy, I don't know what happened. Rashad Bateman.
Well, now I think
getting a victory lap, a sad. What face is JT making?
Well, I traded him away. So, here's the thing. I think Bateman's had a very good start to the season, but I think it's super inflated and unsustainable with how he's currently being used. And I think if we don't see that changing, I think now's the perfect time to trade away Bateman, because I think Bateman at his core is going to be that fringe kind of wide receiver 2 guy where, hand up, I was wrong. I thought he was going to be a wide receiver 1. I thought he was going to be like dominating target share. I thought he was going to be dominating snaps and everything on this Ravens offense. And through 2 weeks, he's not. And this is where I'm also using last year. Although he was injured, his production last year was just okay. It wasn't great. So now we have a year and 2 games of Rashad Bateman just looking okay, but he's ranked in that, I think he's like wide receiver 15 or something right now, maybe give or take a couple spots on Keep Trade Cut, but everyone in that range is roughly valued around the same, where I think Bateman will be very good, or at least very solid. But if I could pivot off Bateman into some of these rookie wide receivers that I think are looking really good, like a Garrett Wilson or a Drake London, or someone that I'm just more confident in being that wide receiver 1 again, like a DK Metcalf, who's kind of deflated right now, his value, I would do that. Personally, I traded him for CeeDee Lamb. A little more pricey than I wanted.
So you're on the bait train.
I'm also on the bait
at this
train.
point.
I agree with JT, and those are players where now it's attainable to get with including Bateman in the trade, plus maybe another asset with it. But there are some names where you could trade Bateman and possibly get plus. I mean, at least based on Keep Trade Cut. I mean, some straight up trades I would do in a heartbeat, or maybe even throw something in. If you can get Deontay Johnson, who he's a few spots ahead of, I think Deontay Johnson is a more talented receiver than Bateman. I think Chris Godwin is a better receiver than Bateman. And then some of the rookies that are like way below, I think Bateman's like wide receiver 17 or something. Wide receiver 30, 31. 29 and 30 are Treylon Burks and Jamison Williams. Those are 2 names I like too, where you can get plus either of those rookies plus for Bateman at this point possibly. So I'm also on the side of JT where I would trade. The target's just like, it's not sustainable that he's going to have a 50-plus yard touchdown every week, and that's what's kind of been carrying the past 2 weeks. So I'm on the sell side with JT.
Now, why sell him for just a 23 first straight up? If I knew it was late, I think I still would kind of somewhat struggle with that. But if I have any feeling that this is somewhat of a mid, or I think this guy could get bounced in the first round of playoffs, I would do that. I'd re-roll on Bateman.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would trade for playoff teams first that I don't think is one of the top like 2 or 3 contenders in the league. So if it's a pick like 7 or 8, I would do that trade, or 9.
I'm surprised that we haven't heard them in the market for like a Will Fuller.
Well, did I put him on here? I don't know if I put him on here. The panic meter. I didn't. It's just like we've seen the Cowboys with the Gallup was injured and everything. The Bucks just signed Cole Beasley. I'm surprised we haven't seen Will Fuller anywhere, which does have me kind of panicked about him.
AJ Green is getting starting reps and Will Fuller can't find a roster.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
I mean,
he might just be waiting because he knows he's going to get hurt.
I'm guessing. Yeah, guessing teams know something that we don't, but yeah, it's not looking good for him. How do you guys feel about Bateman? Unless I just missed.
I think that's a fair value, because I agree with JT's overall sentiment in that you just kind of expected him to look like the alpha receiver, to get more targets. He's had production on 2 long touchdowns, which has kind of carried his total production.
Yeah.
He's only getting 5-6 targets a game. You just expected those numbers to be a little bit up, given their wide receiver situation, right? Devin Duvernay has essentially got the same target share of that offense.
Yeah.
That's not someone that you kind of want to pay up for as of right now. I agree with that. Do we want to just do all the Titans in this one?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Put them together.
So the 2 primary ones, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill. Throw in any other Titans name that you might be starting to panic about as well, if you guys have anyone on your minds in particular. But we can start off with these guys. I think the panic meter for all of us has to be at least like a 4 or a 3 at minimum.
Well, way higher. Yeah, I was gonna say 4 or 3.
So what is it at? Is it like full on sell it all.
Maybe it's not 10, but if it's not 10, it's like 8.
What is it? Is it a 10 for you, Lounis?
No, I lean more towards 8, but like we're getting close to it. It looks bad.
I don't know. This team just
looks bad.
Lost to the Giants and then got absolutely steamrolled by the Bills.
I will say, Joey Bears guy.
As a Giants fan,
yeah, Joey Bears guy, Kyle Phillips, kind of threw the game to the Giants with his muff punt. But
and what's his name? The guy on the Niners.
Still, though, I mean that evens out. Daniel Jones threw a terrible interception in the red zone.
Yeah, true.
Look. Derrick Henry is just. I was talking to Frank about this last night. I personally don't think he's looked as
good.
I'm trying to think of
like the right adjective.
He looks a step slower.
Yeah, but the problem is Frank made a good point of that. He's just getting hit in the backfield literally every play. Like as soon as he's getting the ball, he's getting tackled. But is that going to change? Like we just saw Taylor Warren get hurt.
Like a lot. He used to like break that initial tackle. Usually, almost always. He used to always make that first time miss.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. He would always have like
definitely not his freshman year still.
No. But listen,
you need to give him a team.
This Titans team just doesn't look the same. I don't know what exactly it is. Like I know obviously they lost AJ Brown, but I didn't think that was going to make this offense look like it does. This offense looks like a bottom 5 offense in the league. They can't run the ball. They can't pass the ball. And you're looking at Derrick Henry as a top paid running back, and Tannehill has a big contract at quarterback.
He's
I know
one of the
nowadays,
top paid quarterbacks.
Nowadays, it doesn't look as bad with the money that, Mahomes and Lamar is going to get, and Josh Allen, all these guys have, $500 million contracts. He's still, he has $150 million. It doesn't look good. Like this team is just mediocre and the offense is bad. And I just don't see it really improving. And honestly, if you're the Titans and you're sitting here losing game after game, eventually they're going to just put in Malik Willis.
I mean, they did yesterday, and you look awful.
I know.
Yeah, but come on, your first playing time.
Malik Willis is still not NFL ready. I mean, based on
he's not.
Like he's just
not. But I'm not gonna make any change of judgment for.
Yeah, but I think he's a guy that needs. I think he's a guy that needs the year. I think he's a guy that needs the full year to just learn. And
no, I agree with you, JT, but that's not going to change. If you're the Titans and you're now sitting there at 2-8, what are you doing? You're with Tannehill. You already had question marks about him. He lost in the playoffs now 2 years in a row.
If you're 2-8, I think
seems like. He seems like a guy that's just a regular season quarterback, and if you're the Titans, I think you don't want that.
I don't think they're going to be 2-8.
I think it's going to be kind of closer to not so much like a rookie that comes in like maybe like even like week 9 or 10. I think it's going to be kind of similar to like almost what happened with the Eagles, Wentz and Hurts, where it's like the final 2-3 games, because that division is so bad that they're going to be in the running to win it. Like even at like if they're like 5-8, they'll still probably only be like 2 games back or something. Like that division is awful.
You want to know what this team is going to be?
Tannehill, like maybe.
I think you guys are all wrong. I think all 3 of you are wrong. I think that this is the type of team we see it.
Them too, though.
This is going to be an 0-3, 1-4 type of football team, and then as we hit into the second half of the season, and their offensive line figures out their issues, and they finally realize that Treylon Burks is a good receiver and should be playing a majority of the game, this is going to be a dangerous football team again. When the weather gets colder and other teams start getting more banged up, that's when Derrick Henry thrives. We've seen this story over and over again, where a team like the Ravens comes in, bullies the Titans up front, and they're able to hit Derrick Henry in the backfield, and you look at his rushing stats, you're like, well, shit, that sucked. He's got like 19 carries for 20 yards. We've seen this before. Once that run game gets going and Derrick Henry's hitting people and he's going off for $150, it doesn't matter. Ryan Tannehill's going to be able to throw the ball again.
But The other thing about this is they're one game back in the division. They lost to the Bills. Like, it's not like the writing is definitely not on the wall.
The Jags have
this is I still think a good football team. We've seen the Titans get blown out before.
So Frank, are you buying low on Derrick Henry?
I think I'm buying low on Ryan Tannehill.
That I don't mind.
So you have more faith in the Tannehill bounce back than the Derrick Henry bounce back?
I mean, Tannehill, yeah.
I think the problem that I have with buying Ryan Tannehill is just an overall. If I'm going to buy quarterbacks, I just kind of like buying the top tier ones. Unless I'm getting a really good deal on Tannehill, probably in a bigger trade. Yeah, I like in theory. Oh, if I really need a QB3, fine, go and buy him, but. I just think I'm not personally buying him because I want to buy the better ones when they're available. Like, if I need Tannehill to be a competitor, then my team's probably not good enough in the Superflex League. Right? Like, you build around your quarterbacks. You know, you got fucking Lamar's putting up 45s. Like, I'm sorry. Ryan Tannehill is your QB2 right now? You're 0-2.
Isn't that what you are in our league?
No, he's 2-0.
Oh, you're 2-0.
Ryan Tannehill's my QB2?
Who's your QB2 in our league?
It's Lamar Jackson.
And Mahomes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you traded for Mahomes. All right, we're going to forget that happened. We'll move on.
Bodic was 0-2.
Wait, what about Derrick Henry, though? Because I
just traded for him and then traded him away.
Yeah, I did a quick little trade, but I'm a retooling team. I'm not going to hold Derrick Henry. From the poll I got, it sounded like it was going to be a struggle to trade Derrick Henry for a first-round pick for a lot of people.
For a 23 first?
Yeah.
Unless
hard.
It's a contender that's...
Any first. Across all years.
I think you can get a future first from a contender. Like a team that feels their top 2 or 3 in the league. I could see them giving... a first maybe in like 2024. I think getting a 23 first is going to be pretty hard.
That's the thing. Is that buying low? To me, that's not buying low. I'm paying a first round pick. I'm not buying low on Derrick Henry, so I'm not buying him. I have to give up a first for him? Cool. He might be a league winner later in the season.
What about 2 seconds?
Yeah, but dude, no. Now you're in the Mixon paradox because you're not trading away Derrick Henry as a contender for 2 seconds.
Oh, if Derrick Henry's on the contenders team, no.
Yeah, imagine having to choose between. Yeah, that's my team in the 2nd, 3rd, and 20 league. It's not fun. It's really not fun. Right? Yeah, they're boning me. Yeah, look at my record. I'm 0-2. I'm paying for it.
Yeah, remember when you clowned me for not taking Matt Ryan? Thanks.
Fuck you. Who are we on to now?
We could do bait or great rookie wide receivers: Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson. They're all popping off on the stat sheets. I think 3 of them might already be top 24 wide receivers currently, stats wise.
I think Wilson and London are.
Yeah, Jahan might be there too. I'm trying to see.
Before we get into each individual one, I just want to ask you guys in general, which one are you kind of like the highest on right now? Based on what you've seen this season.
Drake London, nothing's changed.
So far through 2 weeks, Garrett Wilson in half PPR. Garrett Wilson is wide receiver 11. Jahan Dotson is wide receiver 12. Drake London is wide receiver 15. And then Chris Olave is not there yet, but he's had a lot of target share, air yards. He's only wide receiver.
The analytics are in his favor. Yeah,
I think the one who's had the most significant jump for in terms of the market and people's perception is Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Garrett Wilson.
I'm still highest of those guys, Drake London, like Jake was saying.
Of the names you guys said, Pierre, Garrett Wilson, because out of these 4, Garrett Wilson was my highest ranked receiver pre-draft, and so far I only like him more now. Even though Drake London's been great, he's a second, and he should be valued as a top 12, 13 dynasty receiver, but so should Garrett Wilson. And I don't know, I'm super high on both. Garrett Wilson looks really fucking good, Jake.
No, he does. I know he does. I just...
And again, Drake London does too.
It seems sketchy just because the Browns look so bad.
I'm going to go with great on both.
I'm
London
going with
and
great.
Wilson.
Yeah, I'm going with great on all these guys.
I'm going great on all. I do. Obviously, Dotson's not going to sustain this rate.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to. Even if he doesn't sustain it for the year, I like him long term.
But like, okay, for example, like on Keep Trade Cut, how would you rank Dotson with these three other rookie wide receivers that are now beneath him?
I mean, you can't.
Treylon Burks, Pickens, and Jameson.
I'd rather Burks, and I think I'd rather all three still than Jahan Dotson. I mean, his target share is not like it's nothing currently.
I still think that's where I'm saying like it's a real great.
Yeah,
because are you valuing him over those guys?
Here's the thing, right? This is how I'll sum it up. I am willing to pay high, like buy high on Drake London and Garrett Wilson. Like I'm ready to overpay on those two guys because I think they've shown me enough where I think they're going to be top 10 wide receivers by the end of the season, dynasty value wise. The other two in Chris Olave and Jahan Dotson, definitely more so Dotson than Olave. I'm not willing to pay whatever their inflated price is. I just think it's whatever the asking price is. I think it's too high. Chris Olave, I was very much against though before the season, and I've started to warm up a little bit on him, where he's actually putting Jarvis Landry more on the bench. He's playing in those two wide receiver sets with Michael Thomas. I think Chris Olave actually might be good. But that also tells you something else, though. That tells you something else that...
what does it tell me, JT? What does it tell me?
Garrett Wilson actually might be really good. Because if Chris Olave was like not doing well on the Saints, I would be like, all right, well, Garrett Wilson in college, like he outproduced a sad Chris Olave or whatever. It's whatever. He's doing okay here against the Browns. But now we have Garrett Wilson. He beasted in college. He had a crazy target share. He's already beasting in the NFL. Like I think Garrett Wilson is very much a top 10. Like I would pay top 10 prices for Garrett Wilson.
First off, JT, I agree with you. Second off, I mean, just going back to a little bit argument we had a couple weeks ago, if those two are good, imagine how good Jackson Smith and Jigba is. Almost, I'd say chase tier.
I said he was not chase tier. Definitely not chase tier.
I don't know. But anyway, back to the rookie top. I agree with you, JT. I think Drake London, Garrett Wilson are two guys I'm buying high on. I'm buying low on those three other rookie receivers. Actually, no, four. It's Sky Moore and that like these four weren't mentioned, but we're just talking about rookie receivers in general. Treylon, Sky Moore, Pickens, and personally my favorite Jameson, who I had as 1A, 1B with Garrett Wilson in my receiver
Yeah, but
rankings.
Jameson's different though, just because he hasn't played. But
yeah, but I don't know. People with like seeing Amon Ra might think like, oh, like.
Yeah, that does hurt, but I don't think it'll hurt him as much as the other guys going out here and putting up, under sub 5.
Yeah, but I like buying low on all of those. I'm with pretty much JT on all of this.
What's the price gap between Treylon Burks and London or Wilson right now?
Probably pretty high. It's probably a lot.
Is it a first?
It's close.
It might be close. Pretty close. Okay. So real quick, Treylon Burks and Treylon Burks and Jameson Williams are right next to each other, so this works out. Their wide receiver 29 and 30 at about 45-50 value. Okay. With Pickens even lower than them.
45-50. Okay, got it.
Yeah. To get Drake London, and I'm looking for Garrett Wilson. Okay, Garrett Wilson is about a 5,000 with Drake London at 5,400. I think that should be, but whatever. So let's just even that just to say around there, like I think Garrett Wilson is probably to that Drake London price. So let's just say 5,400. It's about 900 between them. So I don't think it's a first yet, but again, that's just keep trade cut. I wouldn't be surprised if like an owner was like, yeah, I'm not trading you Garrett Wilson for Treylon Burks unless you throw a first with him. I could see someone saying that.
Here's 3 of the most recent trades involving Drake London to get value of him, and then I'll tell you Treylon Burks, and then you can kind of break it down.
Okay.
Drake London and 2025 first for Waddle and 2024 second. Drake London for Jerry Jeudy.
That's a great trade for whoever got Waddle.
London and a first for Waddle and a second. London and 25 first for Waddle and a 24 second.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other way around. I thought someone got Waddle and a first. I was like,
no.
London for Judy and a 2023 second. And we've got that one's
that's robbery for London. I would give up Judy
London for Juju. London for Juju, a 2025 first and 2023 second. So that's about the going rate for London if you put those three.
That's around 2 first, it looks like.
That I think it's fair.
Yeah. So then I'm gonna let Treylon Burks populate right now. But I think we're probably only gonna see that go up a little bit too.
Probably. It'll probably continue to go up.
I think Lounis is right in that Garrett Wilson's essentially the same, if not more, in value right now.
Yeah, for sure.
With Treylon Burks, we have Burks in the 23 second for Zeke. We have Burks in the 24 second for Mike Evans and Elijah Moore. We have Burks in the 23.
Okay, what the hell is going on?
These 2 trades are nuts.
We have Burks in the 23 second for Russell Wilson. That one I think is more. Burks in 24 second for T. Higgins. Those are kind of what we're. So I think it's
Burks has got more value than I expected, to be honest with you.
Oh, you think so? I think he's significantly lower than.
Can you see
I thought that there was going to be a little bit more like hate on Treylon. That's just what I've been gauging. I feel like I've seen a lot of people hating on Treylon.
I mean, I think that was happening in the preseason. For now, during regular season, if you look at like the number of targets and catches he's getting per like the amount of snaps he's gotten, it's like it's insanely impressive. And like seeing his target share from week 1 to week 2, he looks like also by far the most talented receiver on that team. Robert Woods doesn't look good.
Woods looks washed at this point.
Treylon Burks is a head and shoulders above every skill position player on that offense besides Derrick Henry.
I just think one of the things optically that stinks for Burks right now, and which is why I expected his price to be a little lower, is that you can't really start Burks.
Yeah,
you're not out there starting him.
Not on a good team, put it that way.
Whereas right now, Drake London and Garrett Wilson have proven to you that you could start them right at the gate. So I just, you obviously you expect them to have a ton of hype because it's like, oh, I can start this guy, and you expect him to get better. So it's just, party city.
Mm-hmm. All right, we can move on from these rookie wide receivers, and then we'll go back to a panic meter, and that's the Bears. Again, Green Bay always owning them, still own them. Justin Fields, I think, threw 11 times. Is that correct? Did he complete 11 passes or throw 11 times? I forget.
I think he completed 11 passes.
No, he threw 11 times.
I think he threw 11 passes.
Threw 11 times.
Whoa.
Yeah. Darnell Mooney, I think, had like a catch. Cole Kmet still has 0 points on the year.
Darnell Mooney has 4 yards on the year.
Yeah. Not great. Not great. And no. I hate to say it, but panic meter's kind of high on these guys.
Yeah.
I told you guys, I thought it was a hot take. I think you guys kind of talked me off the ledge here. But I'm more worried about Justin Fields after the season than I am Trey Lance. And Trey Lance literally shattered his ankle.
I'd agree. I mean, I think even just in general, Trey Lance was the more talented quarterback in the better, way better system. You don't talk about situations. I would have loved to see Justin Fields get drafted by the 49ers and see how the perception of him would have been. But
they've given him no help. His offensive line,
that's what I was gonna say. Is that like we've seen this happen with rookie quarterbacks in recent history, going back, a few years. We've seen until they get their guy, their number one target, they struggle. They struggle big time. We saw Josh Allen throw a lot of interceptions and be really just uncertain in that offense. They go and pick up Stephon Diggs. He looks like the best receiver in the league.
How much better do Tua and Jalen Hurts look this season?
Yeah, that's where I was. That's the other guys I was going to. Is those guys were the next example where they get Jalen Waddle, now they get Tyreek Hill, they get Devontae Smith, they now get AJ Brown. These guys look good. The thing is, though, the Bears have done absolutely nothing.
And do you think they're going to do anything?
Investment in Justin Fields worth it. They traded up with the Giants. They gave away a future first-round pick to do so, and they don't go out and do anything about it. They let Allen Robinson walk in free agency. They didn't draft anybody else offensive weapon wise except Velas fucking Jones.
He hasn't got a chance yet.
I know it's a new coaching staff and a new GM that didn't draft Justin Fields. They're just stuck with him. I would be very concerned with this team. That was my question.
Do you think they go out and get help for Justin Fields?
Like, they have to. Otherwise, if they don't, it's just a dumb thing that they drafted him. They should have just drafted best available player on the board. I know you'll say that was him, but they could have. They have so many holes. Right. They can get another quarterback in this draft. Like, there's just so many other ways about it, and you don't give up a future first round pick to do so. So this team is just, throwing assets down the drain because they refuse to help their young quarterback.
Yeah, and also, just even from the start, I kind of would wish that they would have hired an offensive minded head coach.
Yeah, Hein Eberflus or whatever his name is. It was just, go out and do what the Dolphins did. Go get the best offensive coordinator you can find. It just doesn't. It doesn't.
They were trying to get Sean Payton.
I mean, Sean Payton would be fantastic. Yeah. I mean, Mike McDaniels,
best offensive coordinator you can find.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they got.
I think that you guys are panicking a little bit too much on the Bears.
That might be fair.
Yeah, but fine.
I'm being critical. By the way, of the Bears, not so much.
So wait, hold on. I think that the Bears have more talent than you guys give them credit for. If you look at, they were able to run the ball. They were able to run the ball very well against the Packers.
Yeah.
They had two running backs who could carry the rock. Mm-hmm. And in terms of the passing attack, I think a lot of it is Justin Fields having these self-inflicted wounds where he is too focused on scrambling and trying to make plays and not living within the offense. Every single drop back, it feels like a scramble. Yeah, he only threw the ball 11 times. But they called a lot more than 11 passes.
This was what I meant to say in terms of like what our text conversation, where I was saying like he's not able to get into a rhythm at all, start to like kind of like get his feet set in. Also, another thing, like you can design more plays like screens, quick slants. You see all like the rollout play, tight end passes that the Eagles do with Jalen Hurts, where it's just like you're throwing it here, like just to like, I don't know, like easy completions that can get him into a rhythm. Which is literally, I'm thinking of the exact, like what the Eagles offense is doing with Hurts, just these easy passes to get him into the game. If they were doing that with Fields, I think that could help him a lot. Like, I just don't think they're doing him any favors whatsoever.
As far as their offensive weapon.
They're not getting any of their offensive weapons involved. Their best two offensive weapons in Mooney and Kmet have like a combined 3 catches. Well, it's absurd.
Well, I just think that I agree with what Lounis was saying in that not necessarily that, they need to run the Eagles offense, but I don't think that the offense that the Bears are running, which just seems like one of these McVay, Shanahan type of offenses where the footwork is tied to the timing of the routes a lot, and you have to be on rhythm, on schedule. He's not been able to really run it with a ton of success. He's not making the throws he needs to make consistently. But the problem I have, and this is why I've had Justin Fields as a really tough evaluation. I haven't really been a big Justin Fields guy, but you have to respect the fact that this dude has the arm talent and can make the plays that he needs to make to win.
Oh, yeah, he has the talent. I think.
And when you compare that to a lot of the other bust-type quarterbacks, you look at someone like Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky was and seems like it does and is missing that element of his game that really just separates him, right? You feel like you're just getting a worse Jimmy G that can run right now.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, we just need this guy to do the easy stuff.
I completely
agree. If you see the you're hot, let it loose.
I agree. Because I mean, like we see like once every like 3 or 4 weeks with him, he has like a Mahomes like touchdown where it's just like this crazy like improvised play.
I was kind of
like,
hoping you demonstrated for us there.
Yeah, just like we saw with the Economist the Dante Pettis touchdown. The big one last year, I think it was like the touchdown run. But even just like the rollout and everything, the run against the 49ers. But yeah, I think that's what I meant. So more so, Franco, I was saying, because I do agree with you. Like they were having zero success passing the ball, but I think like their their offense now is kind of tailored towards someone like you said, like a Jimmy G type, where it's just kind of a vet who can get like the timing right. It doesn't need to be like this insane like Mahomes or Rodgers type. But I just think they need to make it like at least just easier on him. I feel like it's like a lot of times he just tries to do too much to kind of carry. And I don't know. That's why I say I kind of wish they had hired an offensive-minded coach.
I think he needs to make it easy on himself. I think the problem is that like he has open throws and things. He's just not throwing it.
I will say,
right, but but like a guy like Fields, right? This guy has been uber successful at every level he has played at. You know, he was a 5-star top recruit, went to Georgia, didn't play, transfers to Ohio State, kills it, becomes a top 10 pick, 11th, but you know, close enough. Like he's always been successful, and now the easy things have always come easy to him. And now that the easy things aren't coming easy to him, it's something you want to see an adjustment and see him change up his game a little bit and really try to work on those things. And he just hasn't. He's just continually made the same mistake over and over again, which is not something I want to see in a young quarterback that I want to develop into a future franchise quarterback.
I just think maybe we are panicking too much on him, where he had a touchdown. I don't know if you guys saw the game, but he had a rushing touchdown against the Packers. He was clearly in. The ball was over the line, and they called it back. He would have had 15 fantasy points. It's whatever week. I just don't think we're having the same conversation that we are in right now. It would have been gross, but it wouldn't have been like, is the sky falling? But again, it's just, you look at Darnell Mooney. Is he the number one wide receiver on like any other team? Like, I'd say for probably at least 26, I can confidently say no. Probably
not.
Yeah,
probably not.
I just don't think that the Justin Fields' issues are as external as you guys are making it out to be. Yeah, the offense isn't great, but Justin Fields needs to improve. If he improves over the course of the season, fine. I'm not panicking right now, though.
He needs to improve, but he also needs a guy to throw the ball to that he really has a connection with.
I will say, as far as
I was just going to say, he clearly doesn't have a favorite target between any of these guys. I mean, the leading Bears receiver is Equanimeous St. Brown, who couldn't even make the Packers roster. It's just like, guys, you got to get this guy someone to throw the ball to. And as much as I love Darnell Mooney's talent, he's clearly just the second fiddle, and he looked good when they had Allen Robinson on the other side, sure. And he hasn't proven that he could be a number one guy. And Justin Fields isn't treating him like that either.
We'll move on in 1 second, but the guy that I'm definitely panicked about is actually Cole Kmet from this team, because
I was never in on Cole Kmet, and I
wasn't either, but I just don't think he's going to be worth anything. Like
no,
he's gotten 0 targets through 2 games.
So last thing, are we buy, sell, hold Fields?
I tried moving him for Trey Lance. It didn't happen.
Well,
I think
I might.
That's after Trey Lance shot his ankle.
That's so price dependent.
I know it is price. I might try to. It depends. This was easier before the season when you probably could have gotten a 2-hour Hurts for Fields. Like plus, you could have done that before the regular season. I think now it's a little bit tougher.
I think you could still get a 23 first for him.
If it's a late 23 first, I
don't know.
If you want to,
you could maybe get a late
gamble.
one.
If you want to gamble, I would send it to a late 23 first for Fields. I started because after the first 2 quarterbacks, there's not going to be a third quarterback.
I think that's fair.
Justin Fields. All right, here, ready? So they played on the 18th, right? That was So these are the trades that have followed his game. We have Justin Fields for Allen Robinson and 23 second. We have Justin Fields for Joe Mixon straight. Julio Jones and Justin Fields for Drake London and 23 fourth. Justin Fields for Trey Lance straight. Justin Fields for Dak Prescott straight. And Justin Fields for Russell Wilson straight. So the value is still...
He's not a buy low, sorry.
He's not a buy low then. No, he's still
Kmet is an actual buy low because you can buy Kmet for pennies on the dollar right now. Everyone else sees the big old zero in the target column.
Kmet's a sell low for me.
I'm good on Kmet.
Yeah,
I like Mooney as a buy low.
But I think Mooney's another one where you look at a lot of the recent trades, you have to pay wide receiver 2 price for him still. Wide receiver 3.
Yeah, I think I should. No, I was just thinking in general. I didn't even think about what his price not taking a big drop.
Like if Mooney was priced like a Gallup, then I'd 100% go in all my leagues, but you're just not getting him there.
Yeah.
I don't think Kmet to buy low still. Does Kmet for a second? Kmet in 23 third for Dallas Goedert.
What if I could do either of those trades? I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kmet in a third for Goedert.
Wait, so we have Carson Wentz on the Bader grade. Do we really need to have this discussion?
Lounis might make that argument.
Listen,
dude, he's falling back.
I'm saying to what's his value right now?
Can we just knock him off? Like we've had this discussion thousands of times.
We haven't talked about
this is the same card trick.
It was a Jake Lounis debates of 2 years ago. The Jake Lounis.
Yeah. Oh no, these were the 2 years ago. Carson. This was
Jake
Lounis still on the Eagles.
It's gonna be the yearly debate. I'm waiting for it to populate to let you know. Okay, ready? Carson Wentz for a 24 and 25 second. Carson Wentz for Deontay Johnson in 23 third. Carson Wentz in a 23 fourth.
Okay, we need to stop this because we're actually going to have a Carson Wentz debate. If you keep on talking about it, there's going to be something. We just need to move on.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I can get Deontay.
I told you Carson Wentz was so high.
All right, moving on.
Are you selling Carson Wentz right now if you have him?
We're not talking about him. We are not talking about Carson Wentz. No.
But yeah.
QB3.
All right. Well, are we talking about Russell Wilson?
Yeah, we'll talk about Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Jake's sad.
No,
what are we saying, Jake?
It looks bad, Jake. I'm not going to lie to you, buddy.
The Mad King himself, Aries Targaryen, has truly lost his marbles.
Hackett is Jamie Lannister.
This man may have This man may have finally lost his marbles.
JT, he's Max Kulshov on this.
What shout out?
It's like he's watching the bots and he's like, "Fuck, bro." No, but yeah, no, Jake, I'll let you keep going.
This man, my heart and soul. I love Russ. I've always had Russ. I've had him from the startup 5 years ago. I still have him. Still love him. My QB1 always. But man, this Broncos offense just looks atrocious.
Looks terrible, bro. What was he was like 620 in the third quarter.
I honestly have no words because I am so upset. This man truly looks like he's just like, I got my money. I'm out, boys. Like, I'm done. Like, he's just riding off into the sunset. Broncos country, let's ride off into fucking mediocrity for the next 5 years. Like, I don't know what this man wants.
Million. So as an extension, that's not even this year.
You can't panic on him because like the price is just dropping every second.
It's dropping, but you can still.
No, you can still sell Russ.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, do I think this offense will click eventually? I'm gonna hold out hope at this point. If I'm a Russ owner, you're probably a contender. You're not holding on to Russ if you're not a contender. Like, you just say, some point this offense has to click and just say, I'm gonna hold. Like, what else can you do? I'm not gonna trade him away to downgrade and pick up a pick. Like, I just don't think you'll get enough value out of that right now. It's a really tough situation because Russ has historically been so consistent that at some point, like, you expect him to go back to that, and he just, I'm worried.
He's not mobile anymore.
Worried. He hasn't been mobile in a couple of years.
I know, but I mean, even like in the pocket, like evading defenders better, like extending the play, then still getting a pass off.
He's lost his rushing upside too. Maybe he gets back into it, but
he's lost his rushing upside. He now just has like a low rushing floor where he's going to get you about 400 yards for the season, and that's about maybe not even probably like 300 yards for the season.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. If that's gone, then Russell Wilson is going to be a QB 16 and just be a mediocre quarterback. That's just what it is. Am I panicked on him? A little. It's probably at like a 3. It's probably like a 3. I'm making it sound worse than it is because at the end of the day, he is Russell Wilson. He's not a rookie. We've seen him do this before where he goes on a stretch of just being ice cold and then he'll be red hot for 2 weeks, and that's just how he is. But this just looks different than when he struggled in Seattle. I don't know if it's because it's a new team. I don't know if it's because he doesn't have, DK and his buddy Lockett that he's been throwing to for years. I don't know what's up. I figured going to Denver and having Judy and Sutton and
it's not like he doesn't have weapons.
Albert O, even Hamler. Like, there's a lot of guys there. And right, Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon behind him. Like, this team has all the offensive weapons you can want. It's just not coming together, and I wonder if that's them putting too much pressure on Russ, if Russ is putting too much pressure on himself, going to a new team. Like we've seen Stafford win a Super Bowl, Brady win a Super Bowl going to a new team. I don't know if he's putting that pressure on himself and he's just, kind of causing, self-inflicted harm. It's just tough. It's a tough time being a Russell Wilson.
Is anyone actually panicked on Russ to the point where you just be selling him for what you can right now?
I would say so I only say this because you can still get a lot for him. Like, I don't want to say yes and it makes it seem like, oh, like fucking just get him off my team. Like, no, I'm saying yes in terms of like, I think you can still get a very good return for Russ because I think a lot of people... So
you're just selling him right now. You're just a seller if you had him?
Yeah, like I'm not like I have to sell him this week, but I'm trying to shop because right now he's what? He's right behind Tua at QB12. JT, do you mind pulling up the recent Russ trades?
Russ and DeAndre Hopkins for Dak Prescott and Garrett Wilson. Russ and
God.
George Kittle for Joe Burrow. Russ for a 23 and a 24.
I don't mind that.
Russ for 2 first right there.
Yeah. Russ, DJ Chark, Trey McBride for Dak. Russ
yeah,
for
so that's
Fields
multiple
straight.
Russ pluses for Dak.
Yeah, Russ Russ for Burks in a second.
I would like trying to flip Russ if I'm not contending again. Well, I guess if you have Russ, you are contending. But I like the idea of turning Russ into Trey Lance.
That's all. You're only going to do that though if you're ready to lose. If you're ready to really commit to the rebuild, that's because obviously Lance isn't going to be playing.
Yeah.
If I have Russ and I am truly panicked, I'm tearing up. I'm not tearing down. I'm going and saying, okay, I'll give you Russ and a first and another player, and I'll take my chances with a Joe Burrow, with a Kyler, with a Lamar. Like, try to go up the ladder on this one. Just because if you have Russ, you've probably had him for a while. You're probably a contender. You don't want to just, sell out and go a full-on rebuild. So I think if you just spend up a little bit from Russ, it's probably more worth it than if you were to tear down and just take one pick and a bad quarterback.
Robin chat saying, Broncos country, let's ride back a few yards for delay of game. Yeah. I guess I agree with Jake. I just think you're going to have a hard time trying to convince those guys with the top tier asset to move down into Russ.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we got to move on because we have other segments that we want to talk about as well. We got to start sparking it up.
Yeah.
Beta Great Amon Ra. I'm going to take this one for a little bit. I'm going to go with bait on Amon Ra St. Brown. If I have Amon Ra St. Brown in any of my leagues, I am selling him. I think that this is a period of time where you can get stuff on top of the 23 first. We have a segment, trades you should do. I think that's in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Amon Ra for a 23 first. I'm just going to spoil that one. I agree. I think you get more. He's being crowned a top 10 dynasty wide receiver. I think he profiles out more to be a wide receiver too. People are comping him to Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. Dude, he torched the the Washington Commanders. I took Amon Ra's over. I took him over 100 plus yards on FanDuel. Like, I don't think this should be a surprise to anyone that people are torching the Commanders secondary. To me, This is a bottom 5 secondary in the league. Like I'm going to continue taking receivers overs against the Commanders.
The problem, Frank, I have here though, and I think, or that many I think would have is, it's been, 10 straight games of very successful Amon Ra production. Like, where would we draw the line and say, oh, he actually might be really good?
He could be. I'm willing
I'm not gonna lie. I'm starting to change my tune on Amon Ra.
I think I was super against him.
I was super against him. Didn't understand all the hype this offseason, him rising and rising and rising, and now obviously breaking into the top 12 after this week's performance. But I don't know. I don't know if it's because he's on the Lions. I don't know if it's because he has Jared Goff. I don't know if it's because he has Jameson Williams waiting to return, but I just don't see him being a true number one dynasty wide receiver.
I think what you're going to see with J-Mo when he comes back and he's fully healthy, and Amon Ra is kind of like on a different scales with what happened with Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. I want to see full season. I still do value him highly. He's not in my top 10. He's probably not in my top 15 dynasty receivers. He's probably in that 15 to 20
I think he
range.
might be there for me.
And if I can sell him at wide receiver 1, top 12 price, am I going to do that? Fuck yes, I'm going to do that. If look at the guys he's ahead of, or even just near. Like, let's just say Keep Trade Cut's like inaccurate by like 4 or 5 spots. There are guys like 8 or 9 spots that I like more than him.
Yeah,
it's just too high. It's too high, and great for Amon Ra, Sun God. I think he's like, congrats anyway. Drafted him super low, and I would value him highly if I had him. You should value him highly. We're saying beta grade at the price he's at. The price he's at is an easy sell for me.
I will say, I'm going to introduce a panic meter part here. Look at who
he's ahead of, bro.
He's ahead of a lot of good wide receivers.
And like, you taking Garrett Wilson or Amon Ra?
Yeah, and we're expecting this to start being the norm when the Lions have scored the most points in the NFL through 2 games.
Yeah, they've been an offensive machine.
Is anyone coming out here and saying that the Lions have a top 5 offense in the league?
No, but I do think they have a very good one. But where I want to kind of pivot us real quick is to the panic meter and TJ Hockenson. I'm cutting the cord on TJ Hockenson. I just think with Jameson Williams showing up, it's going to be
Jameson's not even
Jameson Williams. It's going to be
even Chark.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll throw him in there for now.
I mean,
and then also DeAndre Swift,
two running backs,
and Jamal Williams.
I'm scared about Hockenson.
If they're within 5 yards of the goal line, they're running the ball for the most.
Would you guys? Question to all of you right now: Freiermuth or Hockenson?
Freiermuth.
Yeah,
I'm not even necessarily high on Freiermuth.
Listen, I've loved Hawk. I still do like Hawk, but you're right. It is starting to get to a period where you're just kind of fed up.
It looks like a more receiver-centric offense with like the running backs. It's like it doesn't seem like the tight end has like a lot of.
I think
plays.
he's a Dallas Goedert.
Yeah,
I think you hope he becomes a Dallas. Like Dallas Goedert, at least the first 2 games, he put up 80, 60 yards a game.
I mean, Hawk put up 8 and 7 fantasy points. He had an all right day, but nothing crazy.
Sure. I think it's because also people were expecting Hockenson to kind of be like towards like a Mark Andrews Kittle.
Yeah, everyone expected that since he's been drafted as a first-round tight end.
Well, okay, we said Goddard. Like, I think I'd probably rank him right behind Goddard right now, or like a spot or 2 behind him. I think I'd rather lean Goddard.
All right, you guys want to speed through these last ones?
Yeah, just speed through. I think these will be easy
Matt Ryan got shut out by the Jags.
Yo, if I have Matt Ryan,
panic.
If I have,
you're probably not going to get anything. But
I'm gonna call 911 on Matt Ryan just because this man is dead.
If you can, if a team needs a quarterback and you can trade Matt Ryan in a third for a second, I would do that.
I just think the problem is, man, that those receivers were so bad for them last game. I mean, they were bad for him week 1, and now you take out the best guy.
You want to talk about someone that's dead? Paris.
The Colts downgraded that QB. Yeah, but no,
he's getting out targeted by Ashton Dolan, and I can't even remember who that was.
Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman were both out.
I just think with my take with Matt Ryan, okay, even if you are panicked, I don't want to do that trade that Lounis is saying.
No, you're not getting anything for that. It's just
So yeah, I'm just gonna hold.
No, you guys wouldn't do that trade?
No, I'm not giving Matt Ryan a third for a second.
I would.
Not unless, and that second I assume is going to be a late one. I'm not doing that. I'm
well, if it was
Matt
Ryan and 24 third for a 23 second.
That I'd do in a heartbeat. I like that one a lot. I think this is the last year of Matt Ryan's career. And
yeah, it is making me think more. Points. I do think that my team context would probably come into play there a little bit. But yeah, I'm definitely. I'm not exactly sure where I'd lie there.
I'm out on Matt Ryan. I don't know.
Echo, I think that's how you say his name because this thing is very good. I'll pull up the top 3 Matt Ryan trades real quick, and then we can move on to the next guy. But
we can take Chenault off of here as well.
Chenault's bad.
I think that's easy panicking. What are you gonna do?
You guys. We're all over the place with this. Actually, this is crazy. All right, since Sunday's games, we've got Matt Ryan in a third for Derek Carr. So you're like, Matt Ryan
definitely would do that.
Yeah. Matt Ryan in a 24 second and Matt Ryan for a 24 second and 23 third.
Robbery.
Matt Ryan for a 23 fourth. And Matt Ryan for Marcus Mariota. We're all over the place.
I think the Matt Ryan for Mariota one. I don't know. I think I'd rather Mariota.
I like Mariota.
I like Mariota more than Matt Ryan.
I think I'd probably go Mariota. Yeah,
because I think they're both only starting for one more year, and Mariota will at least score me fantasy points. He's like QB 13 or 14 right now.
Yeah.
Well, also Mariota is young enough where
he's younger. Yeah,
could find himself in a backup situation where the starter gets
or like
hurt
a bridge next year.
There's so many things that could happen with Mariota that it's just more upside than Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
All right, and then last one, and then we'll move on to our next segment. We got Zeke, and I did see a funny tweet about Zeke. Actually,
I want to check out his value.
At Davis Maddock tweeted out, Xander Horvath has more PPR fantasy points than Zeke Elliott. That's the fullback.
That's just because Zeke hasn't scored. Let's be honest.
It's not.
I'm no more panicked than I was this offseason. Let's be honest. Everyone was worried about Zeke this offseason. There's no more panic than there was then. He's falling into a situation playing with.
I think there's more. It's just. I wish I kind of had that stat in front of me. I'm gonna look up. I want to see what the snap percentage was between him and Pollard.
I'm not really panicked because I agree with Jake. Compared to what he was priced at in the offseason and everything, you look at last game, he gets 15 carries, and I think he also had another target or two. I think that's completely fine. His efficiency is not going to be great right now because they're starting Cooper fucking Rush. But you knew that going in, that he was probably going to have to be a touchdown-dependent RB2-esque kind of player. You need to break a big run or get a touchdown. He didn't, whatever.
Listen, I got him in the 7th round of startups this offseason. For a guy that has, obviously he's not going to, but he has the potential to finish top 12. If Zeke finished a top 12 running back, no one would be surprised. Obviously, I don't think he gets there now with the Dak injury, but to get 15 carries and a couple targets every game, that is more than worth whatever he was priced at this offseason. So I am not panicked if I have Zeke.
I just think the kick in the balls is that he doesn't get any targets these days, whereas at least the past couple of seasons he had gotten a couple targets. But once again, the price adjusted 2 years ago, right? There's been a panic meter on Zeke for literally 2 years now. So he's just a tough asset to move.
Yeah.
All right. Next segment. Do we want to do trades we're doing?
Yeah, I'm down to talk about this for a little bit. Honestly, maybe I'll just tweet out this thread of trades you should do. We could do that or something along the lines of that.
I kind of like that.
All right, so I wanted to talk about, we have a trade in our rebuild league. So we actually traded Wan'Dale Robinson for Brandin Cooks straight up, which I like that move. But now we are in the position where we need to trade away Brandin Cooks. And I'm actually in the 3rd and 20 league in a position where I want to trade away a guy like Renfro. Doesn't apply as much now, but let's just act like there's this tier of receivers, right? Where they're not worth a 1st round pick. but they're good and productive. I said Renfrow in the offseason because that's what he was last year, right? A guy that gets 1,000 yards, but he's just, for whatever reason, not worth the first round pick. In Renfrow's case, he's the third target on the team. He's in the only slot. He's not like one of those Jeffersons where he gets outside stuff too. Pure slot guy. Understandable factors why he's not worth the first. Brandin Cooks, he's a little aged. You know, this is his 19th fucking team. The offense is not particularly amazing. Not worth the first round pick. Michael Thomas coming back from a bunch of bullshit. Productive but old bullshit stuff, kind of hanging over. Not worth the first round pick. We need to come up with some ideas to trade these guys because the tactics that we had started off was we gave Brandin Cooks and draft capital trying to get a first, whether that be a second or a third. Didn't work out. We tried Brandin Cooks and Jarvis Landry for a first. Didn't work out. Tried Brandin Cooks. I think we tried for 2 seconds as well, and that has not worked out thus far. So we need to start becoming a little bit more creative, and I figured that this could help you for this tier of receivers. We'll try out some of these ideas and see how it pans out.
I can read you some of the trades that have happened with Brandin Cooks. And
good starting spot. Let's figure it out.
So I'm going to try and stick to ones that are mostly 1-for-1 or 2-for-1 kind of stuff. We got Brandin Cooks and Jimmy G for Terry McLaurin. We don't really have Brandin Cooks in a 23 second for Jameson Williams. That I find intriguing.
That is interesting. I agree. I would personally look to do something like that. I don't know what it would take to get one of these top end rookies this year, but I think that's something we could look into for sure.
So yeah, immediately other guys that fit the bill for a trade like that are George Pickens and Sky Moore.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't think you have to put as much to get a Sky Moore.
Sky Moore and Pickens probably less than Jameson. Well, Pickens probably close to Jameson, but Sky Moore.
To be fair,
I think that is the best kind you can make.
Brandin Cooks is receiver 40 and Sky Moore is receiver 41. It's as close as you can get.
Yeah, but you know whoever drafted Sky Moore is going to value him higher.
Right. Well, the other thing too is that our second round pick is going to be an early second round pick that you have to be
top 3.
You have to take into consideration.
And that's why that second is used more for someone like a Trey Lance or Jameson. To get one of those guys.
I mean, how much? Obviously, we're like Drake London. What's the difference? I mean,
Drake London's going to be out of your shooting range,
right? But if we do Drake London in an early second in 2023 and throw another second in there from 2024, 2025,
it's going to take a first.
Yeah, you need the flash. Yeah. And it's not worth doing. See, this is one of these things that we've ran into a lot. I've talked about this on a former podcast, but doing these orphan rebuilds where we picked a terrible fucking team. Having guaranteed top end picks makes it annoying as nuts to trade outside of the rookie draft and like the rookie draft period where the names kind of fit the pick.
Yeah.
Cooks in a third for Dotson.
I think it's these rookie trades.
Brandin Cooks for Amari Cooper in a fourth.
I think the best strategy with players like this who are producing right now is trying to go to a contender who had maybe one of those late first round picks. Like let's say they had like 112 and they took, I don't know, like you said, like a Sky Moore or a Dotson, whoever it may be. And they kind of need more immediate help production right now. And it's like, okay, let me trade this rookie that I probably have on my taxi and wasn't going to get into my lineup anyway and is giving me like 0 points because I'm trying to win a championship for a vet who will help me. I can plug in my flex right now and I get this second round pick back or whatever it may be. I think that's the trade that makes the most sense and that what I would be trying to do in that case 90% of the time.
Frank, so what I have written down here is there seems to be 3 avenues that either I just came up with my head or I'm pretty sure I just heard from the trades that JT read out. This is what seems to be people are doing. We can either tier down, which was that Amari Cooper trade for that guy. I'm not sure after the week Amari Cooper had, we'd be able to do it. But a similar process for a different semi-struggling veteran, we could tier down into one of those dudes and pick up a third, a fourth, a second, depending on which veteran we tier down into. Another dude did a trade with Jimmy G, I believe it was, to get almost like that struggling-ish second-tier receiver. In that instance, it was McLaurin, which I think is a good receiver to potentially try and trade for, where it's not like he's been terrible, but his values definitely hasn't gone up. If anything, it's gone down, Terry McLaurin's. Devontae Smith might be another example of that type of player. Maybe Elijah Moore. I don't think so, but I think if he has another poor week, we could start to see him enter that category.
I think Elijah Moore might be a good target just because people are hyping up Garrett Wilson. Obviously, all rightfully so, Garrett Wilson looks great. But Elijah Moore is still a productive wide receiver, and we've seen him be a productive wide receiver. And if people are going to sell him at a discount, I don't think that's a bad target.
And then the obvious one that we've seen is just trading Cooks and a second or a third and picking up a rookie receiver from the draft.
Yeah, I also think it could be interesting if you want to get a lower tier of rookies and pick up like a draft pick back, especially if you're trading a receiver like that because you're trying to rebuild. So let's just say you have like, I don't know, like a Renfro or whatever it might be. And you trade him for, I don't know, let's just say you traded him away for Brian Robinson. Well, Brian Robinson's a bad example because he might be out. But let's just say like a Tyquan Thornton and like a draft pick. So you're getting Thornton.
Yes, you're talking about a tier down with a young player, not an older player. Okay, so
yeah,
we could start brainstorming some potential. I mean, I guess right off the bat, is anyone not want to tier down? Just that's off the table.
I don't want to tier down a veteran. I'll only tier down a young player. Like, give me a lottery ticket, like a Tyquan Thornton, and then like, I don't know, another draft pick or young player.
The thing is, though, Lounis, I think going to a Tyquan Thornton is almost jumping down too many tiers here, and I don't think you'll really. Yeah. It really makes sense. I think you could probably tier down twice into Tyquan Thornton, picking up draft picks along the way. If you wanted to do something like if we tiered down into a lesser veteran and a second, great, and then we could tier down from that veteran to Tyquan Thornton in a third, and we pick up a second and a third, and Tyquan Thornton for Brandin Cooks eventually, basically.
The thing is, Tyquan Thornton, he has a lottery ticket, but that does mean his value could go to 0.
Yeah. No. I'm just saying a lesser rookie if we're gonna put it in that way.
The problem I have with someone like Thornton is that I feel like we're trading for a really illiquid player. Like if we have to firm hold Tyquan Thornton, there's nothing you can trade him for.
I don't think he's back until like week 8 or something too.
Yeah, he broke his collarbone.
So a tier down type of player in that regard. Now I'm not going to want to do this because I don't like this player, but this would be a decent example. Is probably someone like James Cook, where there's a decent amount of panic.
Alec Pierce.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't like these guys. Pierce. That's the problem.
I like Alec Pierce a lot more than James Cook. But...
What about a guy like Rondale?
I think that's
still valued highly. How high is he still valued?
He used to be, when I looked at him recently, he was like a mid to late second. I'm not sure if he's dropped even more.
He's definitely lower than Cooks.
I mean, right now it says Brandin Cooks in 301 for Rondale Moore. So I mean, if we could get Rondale Moore in a third for Brandin Cooks.
I was gonna say I don't want to have to add on to Cooks to get.
Honestly, what I'm doing, can I just suggest an option with a specific player? With what I'm doing with these guys, I'm trying to get. I don't know what kind of other asset is going to be involved in it, but I would just be trying to buy like Calvin Ridley or maybe a week or two ago.
I would bet Brandin Cooks is ranked above. Calvin Ridley, a decent amount.
Yeah, but no, that's the point. You could possibly get something with Calvin Ridley, and I think when Ridley's back, he's going to go back to being a fucking damn good receiver.
So like Ridley in a third.
Yeah, like if I could trade Cooks for Ridley in a third, and especially if I'm a team that's not competing, which is why I'm trading away Brandin Cooks, that's like a specific player I'm going for.
Would you guys want to offer out Cooks for Rondale in a third?
I would send that.
I'm not opposed. I mean, we've seen what Greg Dortch could do.
I was going to say,
just gotta give Rondale more.
It's going to be Rondale. soon.
Now we could honestly try Cooks for Sky Moore straight up.
The rookies is my favorite option by far. I was just thinking of others. My favorite one though is just rookies who haven't like done anything.
Yeah,
yet,
I mean, I think we try for Sky Moore or Sky Moore and Pickens.
Sky Moore, Pickens, and Jameson would be the three I'd want to go.
Yeah, those are the three.
It would probably have to be Cooks plus for Pickens or Jameson. What is the plus?
I would rather do Cooks
I'm
plus for
okay
Jameson.
with that though.
Yeah, I think Jameson, we can roll the dice where, I mean, we just saw
It's not much.
Yeah, we saw what Garrett Wilson, we saw what Drake London did when they boomed. That was kind of a big dice.
What do we want to offer? Like, I'm not sure I want to offer that 23 second we have.
I don't want to give up the 23 second either.
I'd give up a 24 or 25 second with Cooks.
We have someone else's second, right? Don't we?
Because
but that other guy is one of the
even if you're not super
teams.
high on Jameson, if Jameson goes off on any of those weeks he plays at the end of the season, and you see like the Lions offense has wonky games, you can flip him for more value than what you bought him for. He's already he's in for like specifically him. His return's gonna be like highly anticipated, but like within the dynasty community, you can flip him if you don't want him. If he just plays like half decent for a couple games.
And I wish we bought Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
It's this guy.
We could try Cooks in a third for Pickens.
The funny part is the guy has both Jameson Williams and George Pickens on the same team.
Right. Maybe he'll give us both.
Hopefully.
He gives
I cannot wait. I cannot wait for him to come back. Fuck. Wish it was in week 8. And for Sky Moore to get playing time. I don't know why the fuck they're not playing Sky Moore yet. He's better
because he's not good. But anyways,
he's better than every receiver on that team not named Juju.
Apparently not.
Ridiculous.
I mean, do you think we could get Gallup plus for Cooks?
I think he can be better.
Yeah, I do.
Gallup is another one. I was gonna say him with Ridley. Guys who have been like out for a while. And their value has decreased because of that. I don't know why that always happens. It happened with Cortland Sutton too.
I'm trying to look at other potential players. Is David Bell worth trying to go after?
Nah,
probably not.
I mean, I've never been a David Bell guy, but you guys can decide. I mean, hopefully he'll beat out Donovan's Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, the problem is it's just like similar to the likes of I forget who I was going to say. Not Sky Moore, because I think Sky Moore at least is very talented. There's like a chance that David Bell gives us like a Terrace Marshall or a Jalen Reagor performance, Diami Brown, where he's just like he's like worth nothing next year.
Yeah.
All right, so right now, potential tear downs we have on the table is Cooks for Rondale Moore in a third, Cooks for Ridley in a third, Cooks for Gallup in a third, and then other potential trades, Cooks for Sky Moore straight up, Cooks in a third for Pickens. We didn't really decide on what on top of Cooks for Jameson Williams.
Probably have to be a little more than a third.
Yeah,
Jameson, you're gonna have to give up the second.
Yeah.
I mean, what about this? What about a guy like Elijah Moore? Is it worth trading for that though? Because that's the problem. These second round picks are kind of going to be juicers for us.
I know. I think Elijah Moore is someone you wait.
The problem is, I think it's going to even out at some point where he had like a 10 or
the Garrett Wilson hype just built. I mean, I love Elijah Moore. I think it's pretty clear that Garrett Wilson.
He's going to get more targets, though. He's going to produce.
Yeah, but when you put it in terms of we're giving up Cooks and pick 12 to 15 or pick 13 to 15 next year, or pick 13 to 15 in 2024.
You can't. No, we honestly, as a rebuilding team, I don't feel like we should be giving up any of our seconds realistically, unless it's for a super high priced asset. And I know Lounis is going to say that's Jameson Williams. But like, is it? Are we that confident in it? I know Lounis is.
I told you guys about Garrett Wilson. I'm telling you about
the thing is we've seen these receivers go off so far. Jameson,
he's gonna be fun in that Lions offense. I'm telling you, even if you don't like Jameson, you're gonna be able to flip him for more value than you buy him for right now.
Cooks for Mooney straight up?
That's an interesting pivot.
I don't.
We might be.
I just don't think Mooney can be a one. I think once they bring in an actual number one receiver, How about Kadarius Toney?
We could tear down into him.
Toney plus.
If the price is right, I think I would even be willing to. Depends.
I think I would.
Prices.
I still think Tony's talented. I don't know why he's not playing. It's not like he's playing and being unproductive. He's just not playing.
It is weird.
Why?
I hate the Reddit posts there, like the curious case of, and then they just like give a random.
Yeah,
but there is the curious case of Kadarius Toney.
Richie James is the Giants' leading receiver over Shepard, Wandale.
Do we try to
Cooks for Juju?
What
I
about
like Juju? There's a lot of panic on Juju over week 2, even though he had a really good week 1 performance.
I just find this interesting, but
yes, Jake?
Apparently the difference between Brandin Cooks and T. Higgins is only 201. I don't know if we want to.
Yeah, but that's not realistically happening with any.
That's what I was going to say.
I know. Even if Keep J Cut says it,
I would offer it up.
That I would do.
I would do in a heartbeat. I would do Brandin Cooks in a first for T. Higgins. If it's not an early.
Well, why don't we offer that
late,
just for
mid-first.
One of these rookies like Garrett Wilson or whatever? Drake London.
I'd do that too. I'd do all those. I just don't know.
Cooks in a second for Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Cooks plus our second for London. Yeah, I don't think those will get accepted, but I guess you never know. I mean, when in Rome, what about DK?
Definitely.
Sure.
His value's down a ton.
Yeah, that might actually get done. That's the thing.
CD? Give me CD.
Sure, throw CD in that bunch at this point.
There's been some weird people falling. Dobbins fell to RB in 18 or 19. I'm trying to buy him everywhere.
Yeah, but he just hasn't played. That's why.
What are some other like Cooks in a third deals we could do? Maybe for
Cooks in a third.
Early third.
Scary Terry, Deontay.
I don't think you're getting either of those guys for Cooks in a third.
Yeah, probably not.
100.
I wouldn't even consider that offer.
Yeah,
for either of those players, especially Deontay.
I was gonna say Terry McLaurin seems more reasonable, but I just don't think.
But even McLaurin, like that would be an easy rejection, and then especially Deontay, that would be really easy rejection. So what do you guys say? Cooks is like 40. So what you're saying?
What about
Cooks
like
third? I think the Cooks in a third, maybe like an Ayuk.
I like that.
It's actually spot on.
I like that a lot.
I think that would be a good trade.
I think with Jimmy G being there, I think Deebo Samuel's going to be more of that what he was last year, but Ayuk will actually be the guy instead of I don't know whoever is on the Bears now.
I'm not sure I offered out Cooks for 24 plus 25 seconds. We could try that as well.
I like the Ayuk buy. I just like those young players that you still believe in to their talent when like maybe an owner is like, why is he putting up these numbers?
I also like doing something where it's like Cooks in a 24 second or 25 first, just because I think the 25 class just prematurely, but I think the 25 class looks better than the 24 class.
I have a judgment on it.
Listen, we're too.
But you're getting first. At the end of the day, you're still doing Cooks plus a second for a first.
So yeah, Cooks for a 24 second, or Cooks in a 24 second for a 24 first.
25 first.
If you can do that, then yeah, for sure.
25. I like the 24 class personally.
I think there are good 24 players, but I just don't know if you get it done. If you don't get it done, I'd get the 25 first.
Oh, you can do that for 25 as well. Yeah, I like these ideas. So we have a ton of ideas on the board. I mean, I can run through them if we want. Do we want to run through it then in the episode?
Yeah, let's do it.
So yeah, I guess, I mean, I'm going to offer essentially all of these out over a period of time. We're going to have to discuss which ones we want to do first, but the list includes Cooks in a second for Garrett Wilson or Drake London or DK Metcalf or CD. Cooks in a third for Ayuk. Cooks in a 24 second for a 24 first. Cooks in a 24 second for a 25 first. Cooks for Sky Moore straight up. Cooks plus a third for Pickens. Cooks for Mooney straight up. Actually, we didn't really want to do that one.
I think some of these you need to do a little bit more. Like it might be like Cooks and a third for Sky Moore.
I don't know. I pulled up the trades earlier.
I know that was an example.
Cooks
I mean,
for
I'm
Juju.
just...
Hold on, let me just run through these real quick, Linus.
Yeah, sorry.
Cooks for Gallup in a third, Cooks for Ridley in a third, Cooks for Rondale Moore in a third, Cooks for Tony in a third. And then if we're able to acquire a more later second, Cooks in a second for Jameson Williams. Yeah, I agree. Some of these do feel a little bit light, but at the same time, I'm not sure I want to give up more.
I think I'd give up an early second in 24 or 25 of Cooks with JMO. Or, I mean, the Drake London, Garrett Wilson types, I think you're going to need to give up a first. I think if I could get a contenders first, I would attach that. The perfect example would be Brandin Cooks, a contenders first in 24 or 25 for one of those two. And even then, I'm not sure it gets done, but that would be the ideal trade that I'd want to do.
Yeah, that's just the issue is that we don't have the only firsts we have are all
your own,
top
which
three.
Makes it a bitch. Yeah.
Well, we have a second first in 24, but it's one of the worst teams in the league's first. Yeah. So we're going to keep on to that. Unless we're getting much better value, which once again, the problem is that realistically, these second round picks are late first, probably in the 23 draft. But because it's got that 2 in front of it, and I understand it doesn't have the upside of being able to sneak into the top 8, we're just not really going to get what we want in terms of value. And at the selling price, why would we sell it for second round pick type valuation when there could easily be an Elijah Moore type prospect
even
sitting there in the beginning of the second.
Jefferson.
Just a highly valued type player sitting there in the top 2 or 3 picks of the second round. But all right, I think that's going to do it from us here. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. We'll be doing the stocks tomorrow. So have a good one. Peace out. See ya.
See you guys.